Boot, 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 boot.
And there it is.
Yep, live.
And there it is.
Yep.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Time with Scrappy and Friends, the 99th episode by my count. My name is ScrappyFan92. With me today are Harry, Raideran, and by some unholy circumstance, Pedriva.
And Scrappy's doing this live from Too Many Games.
Yes, I recently updated my microphone, and apparently I sound like I have, I don't know, supreme boom now. Like I sound like myself to myself. So
I mean, yeah, like when the upload goes live, you'll see like what we mean.
Yeah, there's a bit of an echo.
oh, that's cute. You think I watch videos of story time?
Wow. You don't look back at our greatest hits?
Story time's greatest hits.
Oh
I'm so
god.
disappointed.
We're gonna get into story time's greatest hits next episode, but today is this episode.
AO confirmed?
Pardon?
I said AO confirmed?
Maybe. So today we are just here to resume and hopefully conclude the reading of The Little Mermaid by Princess Belle, Prince Adam. When we last read Necroli / Ursula's plot to come between the former mermaid princess, and the human prince, that plan was underway. I guess you'd call her daughter Lily was serving as a false love for the Prince Nicholas, and now she feels, now Lily feels regret and wants to help Madison. I did not script this as per usual. I actually do script my intros even if I kind of stumble over them. Today I did not. So that's why I sound more stilted than usual.
We're going in
Doing it
blind.
live.
We're just winging it today.
We're building.
Yeah, like one of our and the ultimate, one of our newer recruits was supposed to show up today, but they had other things to do, so we had to pull Pedriva out of storage.
Yeah, come on. I'm trying to rest my throat and stuff, man.
What? Harry, I didn't request this.
I mean, it was the last resort thing, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, Harry
That was
really
available,
wants to
so-
finish the story today for some reason.
Yeah. He's got his own little like mindset going on right now, you know. He's already had it in his mind, like if we don't get episode 100 out within a specific date, he's gonna kill us all, you know.
Not high scoop. You're probably gonna leave in like 5 seconds.
If episode 100 doesn't come out before the end of the year, Harry will lose his mind.
See, we got a quota.
Well, these are the last 4 chapters, so I guess we'll just get right into it. And yeah, just to remind everyone, since roles have been kind of passed around again. Actually, have they?
I don't think they were this past time. Unless I missed the chapter, but I don't think I did.
Okay, yeah, we have the same configuration that we had for the last session. I thought Pedri will be absent for today, so I was gonna recast some roles, but not anymore.
Yeah.
So I guess thank you, Pedri, for showing up. Chip would have had like his 3rd or 4th VA. You weren't around.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, you should be thanking me harder. You know, I'm putting away time that I was spending on Final Fantasy 16 for this. How dare you?
I
Wow.
put away Genshin time for this.
Come on, man.
Have you considered not playing games?
Unfortunately, you know, it's in my bloodstream. I literally can't live if I don't play a game or two.
It's not a choice,
It's
Scrappy.
a lifestyle, bro.
Crappy dappy doo.
Anyway. Right around, we'll be reprising Madison, Necroli, and Lily. Pedriva will be Nick, Xander, Chip, and I handle the rest.
Have fun.
This is chapter 16 of The Little Mermaid by Princess Belle, Prince Adam. When the king and queen's carriage arrived at the docks, the already frantic workers shifted into overdrive. Once the party had boarded the vessel, the king and Xander were led one way, while Udana, Madison, and Lily were ushered into a dressing room. Right away, the attendants began to tug off the two young ladies' gowns. Udana had selected a light blue satin gown for Madison. "You look lovely in blue, my darling," she said kindly to the silent maiden. Madison could only offer a shy smile in response as the maid assigned to her finished sliding the garment over her. Oy. For Lily, the bride to be, there was a white dress made of a light, airy material. It was styled in the latest fashion, tight to her waist where it poofed into a very full skirt. Udana smiled at her future daughter-in-law, though the gesture seemed much more forced. "I must go take my place. You'll be given your cues very shortly. Remember, Lily, this is your big day. The kingdom is thrilled to have a new princess at last." Udana, ever diplomatic, was very accomplished saying the right things, even if she was not entirely honest. For some reason that she could not quite put her finger on, the queen felt her son's silent friend was a better match. When the queen had gone, Lily turned to the Blue Princess.
We haven't much time, Madison. I think we are going to have to postpone the wedding, providing we can think of the proper distraction, of course.
Lily furrowed her brow, deep in concentration. Finally, an idea struck the Blue Mermaid. She got her blonde companion's attention, and once Lily turned, Maddie began to pantomime.
Of course!
Lily exclaimed, when she had interpreted the Blue Mermaid's actions.
I shall fall overboard.
It was the best plan either maiden could come up with. And since the sun was beginning to turn orange rather than golden, they did not exactly have a lot of options.
Alright, I guess this is when we should have, had that, that discussion with Harry. I guess I'll play it instead, yeah.
In the Atlantean palace, King Dagron was holding a meeting.
Right, this is the problem. I don't know when I should play the
Yeah,
thing.
exactly. That's why I just played it instead.
I wasn't serious when I said Harry should do it. Why did we assume Harry would do it?
I don't know.
I mean, I honestly thought it was serious. So, oh well.
Would have been funny. Would have been real good. Real shocking too.
In the Atlantean palace, King Dagron was holding a meeting. The King Merman was giving his eldest daughter advice about what to do when Necroli came to make good on the contract. Oy. "Daughter, I know you have my temper, but I beg you, do not pick a fight with Necroli. The secret has unbelievable power. She has absolutely nothing to lose by challenging you." Vita looked at her father with angry brown eyes. "Father, how stupid do you think I am? Necroli has destroyed our family. I will not try to fight her." King Dagron looked greatly relieved at this promise from his eldest daughter. The Pink Princess continued to reassure her father. When Madison comes home, we will start preparing the coronation ceremony immediately. You leave the kingdom in good hands, father. I do not believe Madison will stray to the human world again. She has been the cause of much trouble for the kingdom recently, but I am certain she will now see how dangerous getting involved with humans can be. Dagron gave his eldest daughter a grim smile. He could only hope that Vita was right about Madison. He had taught his girls well. He left his kingdom in good hands, as Vita had said. He was not worried about himself. He was frightened about the devious sorceress's plans for his daughters. They would be very powerful together. That was true. But they would also be inexperienced compared to the Sea Witch. The king did not voice these opinions and concerns, however. Instead, he swam to Vita's side and then put his arms around her. I'm certain everything will work out, Vita. I have faith in you and in Madison. You will both do well. I could not prepare the two of you becoming queens any better. Prepare the two of you for becoming queens any better. Daggeron was not usually a sentimental person, but the Pink Mermaid could tell that her father was tearing up a bit. Not wanting these last few moments to be tainted by her father being upset, Vita pulled back and grinned. Maddie and I were born for this. Plus, we have Toby as an advisor, and Chip to make sure we'll still have fun. We still have fun. The princess's tactic worked, and her father returned her smile. He could go through his promise to the Sea Witch with no regrets. His daughters had each other, and they had friends to get them through the difficult days ahead. Above the surface, Prince Nicholas was pacing. King Leanbow placed a hand on his son's shoulder, effectively stopping the young prince in his tracks. Son, I must ask that you calm yourself. The ceremony's in an hour's time. Pacing will not speed things up. The king spoke firmly, but not harshly, to his only child. And then he smiled at the heir to the throne. There's nothing to be worried about, Nicholas. I know this is very sudden, but I honestly believe you know what you're doing. There must be a very good explanation as to why you have chosen to make Lily your wife. With that said, the king of the land removed his hand from his son's shoulder. He then nodded at Xander before leaving the room. When Nick was alone with his green-clad friend, he resumed pacing. He did indeed look worried, but somehow Xander didn't think Lily was the only source of the prince's anxiety. Almost as if Nick was reading the young lord's thoughts. He stopped abruptly in his pacing and looked into Xander's brown eyes.
I have come to count you as my friend.
The prince began, and it made Xander wonder briefly if the prince was going to repeat his speech from earlier. There was a moment's pause before the prince spoke again.
I know I've informed you of the reason I desire to marry Lily, but I'm beginning to wonder if my mother was correct in saying this marriage is too rushed. He's thinking? Oh my god, he's thinking.
Xander wanted to tell the prince that he was making a mistake, that he had chosen the wrong girl. He wanted to tell the prince that Madison was the maiden who had saved his life, and that by marrying Lily, Nicholas was going to ruin all that Madison had worked for. However, the green-clad noble had a feeling that if he told the prince Maddie's story, he wouldn't be believed. Instead, the young lord continued to play the part of a loyal friend.
I'm sorry, I just lost my spot. 1 second. Okay. Why do you think that?
Xander crossed his fingers for some piece of information that would be helpful to Madison.
While it is true that you're newly acquainted with Lily, did you not tell me that she saved your life?
There was silence for a moment. When Nicholas answered, he spoke slowly.
You're going to think me insane, Lord Xander. Ever since my birthday, I've been very confused about certain things. As I've told you, when I fell overboard, I was towed back to land by a beautiful young lady. Then, when she was sure I was well, she sang to me.
At this point, the prince looked to Xander to make sure he was following.
With all due respect, that does seem simple enough. I should think it would be natural to have some sort of strong bond towards the lady who saved your life.
Xander said kindly. He had to continue to play his role, and he had to play it well. He had to come off as knowing no more than the prince did about the events of his birthday. The young lord had a feeling that somewhere in the prince's tale was a piece of information that could save Madison from the sea witch. Now a look that could only be described as guilt crossed Nicholas's face.
I suppose it is easy to understand up to this point. But you see, Lily looks nothing like the girl I remember that day at the beach.
Lord Xander did his best to look confused at this revelation of princes. At the very least, Nick believed in his companion's bewilderment enough to continue to speak.
The other maiden, the mute one, she's the one I saw when I came round. But how can it be?
The ruler of Briar Woods rubbed his temples before turning.
Hello?
Rip Scrappy.
Well, it was good knowing them. This is my chance to clear my throat. Oh, that's the good stuff. Oh wow, he's
Did I
gone
miss
for a
something?
while. Oh, there you
Did
go.
I
Yep,
miss?
you're back.
You've been gone for a while now, like maybe 20 seconds.
The damn bars say that they're here on the internet, for Pete's sake.
The what?
My internet access, like the symbol that you see, it's still like, says that I have access. It didn't like say, oh, you're offline now. There's no, like, it's so terrible it won't even tell me what's offline.
It just temporarily, in air quotes, disconnected 32 times over the past couple of seconds, you know? That's all it did, and that's why you were still on.
I live in the friggin' sticks. You need to understand this. Where did I go out?
Yeah, I'm trying to find it.
I heard something about rubbing temples.
You did? I didn't hear that. Oh my lord, I think we disconnected at a different time.
Hold on, I
Oh,
might have
Lord. Oh, no.
hallucinated.
Wait, yeah, here
Rubbed
it is,
his
here
temple.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. The future ruler of Briarwoods rubbed his temples.
Before turning to look at Xander once more.
Yeah. And though my proposing to Lily and through? Is that supposed to be through?
No,
And
the
though
and
by proposing.
Oh, though by proposing I have okay, and though by proposing to Lily I've made a promise, I do not believe I can go through with the wedding. Not until I know the truth. I think that is very wise of you, Nick.
The green-clad noble informed the prince.
From what you've told me, something does not add up.
Xander then made a show of taking his watch from his pocket, and Nicholas flinched a bit at the sight of it. Ugh, he knew he was running out of time. Finally, Nick had to go and inform his guests that there was not going to be a wedding after all. He took a deep breath before crossing the small room to the door. Xander followed the heir to the throne up to the deck, where every lord and lady in the kingdom was awaiting the ceremony. As Nicholas made his way up the altar where the priest stood, excited whispers broke out among the crowd. The prince flinched again. He hated to disappoint those who had gathered to witness the expansion of the royal family, but his heart could not allow him to wed Lily. Not until the event of his birthday was revealed. The prince cleared his throat.
My esteemed guests, I am honored that you have all chosen to attend my wedding, especially at such short notice.
There was quiet laughter from oh gosh, darn it. There was quiet laughter from some of the assembled crowd. Nick smiled slightly at the nobles before masking his face with grimness once more.
I'm afraid that the wedding will not be taking place today.
Simultaneous gasp rang out over the guests, including the king and queen. The prince closed his eyes, not wanting to see all the looks he was surely receiving from the aristocrats of Briar Woods.
I made a mistake. I'm sorry. But if I were to go through with this marriage, I fear I would not make Lily or myself happy.
Without saying a word to each other, King Leanbow and Queen Udana rose from their seats and made their way to Nicholas's side. Udana embraced her child. Bowen, my son, I am proud of you. If your heart does not truly belong to Lily, you should not make her your wife, she told him quietly. Then the red-headed queen pulled back and kissed her son's cheek. King Leanbow quieted the swarm of nobles. I know this news is a bit disappointing to all of you. I cannot say it was the best timing on my son's part. Nick winced once more at his father's words.
Do not
But
fear. Oh, who is
That's
this?
Leanbow.
Okay.
But do not fear, the reception will go on as planned, and we'll all have a grand time. At this point, Madison and Lily were making their way up to the deck. Nick spotted his now ex-fiancée, and he went to her side, hoping to explain. The prince took her hand and led her to an unoccupied area at the stern of the yacht. The nobles were now occupying themselves with the buffet that had been laid out, so there was a bit of privacy for the pair. Nicholas did look apologetic, Lily had to admit. Before he could start to clarify his reasons for calling off the wedding, the blonde gently laid a hand on his arm.
I understand.
She said kindly, and this caused Nick to give a relieved smile.
I do hope we can be friends, Lily.
The prince said.
Perhaps in time, once we have gotten to know each other far better, a proper romance will develop.
But even as the words were leaving Nick's mouth, a slight expression of doubt crossed the young prince's face. This was not what he wanted. Not at all. The two were then joined by Lord Xander and Princess Madison. The mute maiden gave Nick a look of sympathy, and he smiled at her.
Everything is quite all right.
The red-clad heir informed the newcomers. As Xander and Lily spoke quietly to one another, a thought occurred to Nicholas. Now that he had both girls together where no one else could hear them, he could get an explanation at long last.
Lily,
He began.
I wonder if you might tell me something.
At the sound of her name, the young blonde looked up.
Of course.
She said carefully, glancing around to make sure no one had wandered too close. If she spoke quietly, none of the nobility would overhear the strange tale she was about to tell Nicholas.
You were not the one to save me from drowning on my birthday, were you?
It was a simple, direct question, not harsh or accusatory. The prince's brown gaze was locked on Lily as he waited for a reply. Finally, the blonde mermaid began to speak.
No, Your Highness. It was Madison who saved you.
Lily looked to the blue princess, who in turn focused on Nick.
I promise, now we can explain everything. But first you have to kiss Maddie.
Kiss her?
Nick echoed in disbelief.
How do you know her name? Is that her name?
Is that your name?
Oh, is that your name? I didn't even know she was there. I wasn't even focusing.
Is that your name? He added to Madison.
Golly.
She nodded and gave a nervous smile. Xander was looking out at the horizon. Everything was about to be lost. The Green Lord brushed past Lily and gave Madison a gentle push towards Nick.
Oh, that's me. Duh. Just do it. It's almost too late.
Correction. It is too late.
Lily muttered as the sun sunk over the horizon line. Madison's body was engulfed in a light blue cloud, causing Nick to stare in shock. This did not go unnoticed by the nobility aboard the yacht, and several of the ladies screamed.
What's happening to her?
The prince demanded, trying to move towards the princess in hopes of aiding her. Lily and Xander held him back. When the cloud dissolved, Madison had been transformed back into a mermaid.
Oh, Nick. I wanted to tell you.
She told him with real sorrow in her voice. Nick knelt in front of her and pulled her close, being careful of her tail.
It was you all along.
Madison nodded weakly. She felt dizzy. Lily noticed this at once and knew Madison needed water.
Nicholas, she's going to die. You have to let her go.
Lily said frantically. The blonde mermaid and Xander worked to force the prince to release the blue princess, despite Nick's protests. Then the two carefully lifted her over the side of the yacht and gently slid her into the ocean.
Tell me everything.
Nicholas ordered in a cold voice. A dark shape was beginning to rise from the ocean.
It all started with that.
The Green Mermaid said with a touch of bitterness. Nick looked to where she was pointing and let out a gasp. End chapter.
And that. Oh yeah. You want to say? You want to say? You saying it? Yeah.
He is the one who normally says it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So got 3 left.
Chapter 16.
Something that just occurred. Pardon me, go on. Someone gonna say something?
I
I
thought
don't think so.
I wasn't
I
gonna
think
say
we've all
anything.
said something. Yeah, I think we've all finished what we were saying.
I didn't have anything to say.
Yeah.
Anyway, something that occurred to me is that, yeah, Lily, she's described as being a green mermaid, so, green tail when she was, still part fish.
Mm.
Now, the story has been pretty clear with power and just color coding, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
Lily doesn't really wear green in the show.
Oh, I gotta look this up now. Lily Power Rangers.
Power Rangers Mystic Force.
Huzzah.
Well, I should search on Google instead of being. What am I doing? Not Goggle, Google.
God,
Sorry,
dude,
I'm
I misspell when I'm trying to search for things especially. I misspell the stuff all the time.
So, yeah, so she's not really, as far as I know, she doesn't really wear green. It's not frequently in Mystic Force. It's not some minor thing. It's just just an observation I have. And since her blonde hair is called attention to in the story frequently, I mean, that's just standard mermaid design in most visual media. And just kind of inadvertently remind me of Marina from the old 1970s Little Mermaid adaptation. So, yeah, there's your trivia for today.
Let's go. The weekly Scrappy trivia.
Hey, let's go.
Not so weekly at the moment, though.
Yeah, not exactly weekly so far, but
And let's see what else.
maybe we could get there.
I mean, God knows when the next episode is gonna happen. So
We'll see you next year.
Yeah, right?
Anyway, the blue Lightspeed Ranger in Lightspeed Rescue, his love interest is a mermaid also named Marina, so
Mm.
yeah.
Huh. That's funny. Just Marines.
Yay.
Fun. Marine life form, Marina. Fish.
Mar-
Mermaid.
Yeah, Atlantis is a real place in the Power Rangers universe, which is probably why they call, which might be why they call it Atlantis in this story, not Atlantica.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, that makes
Or
sense.
maybe they just don't want to, infringe on the Kingdom Hearts swag,
Oh god.
They don't want to
mean,
deal with the whole swim this way, They don't want that.
Finny fun.
Power Rangers was owned by
They don't
Disney
want
when the
that big
story
fun.
was. Power Rangers was owned by Disney when the story was written, so I don't think it would be much of an issue.
Yeah, we're
True.
talking about Square though, Who knows,
Disney owns, well, Square definitely doesn't own the Kingdom Hearts music.
Yeah.
Nah, they don't. They definitely don't. Actually, it's owned by Sony, which is weird.
What? How does
Or
that?
actually, not just
Sony's
the opening.
music
Just the
department
opening is
because
Sony.
of Utada, I'm guessing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Actually, wait. Utada didn't compose. Actually, I don't think they did compose like the Little Mermaid song
No,
for
she
Kingdom
just did the
Hearts.
opening. No, the
Yeah.
Swim This Way was composed by Yoki Shimomura, but Utada did the openings and endings. That's basically it.
What song? Since we're on this tangent, what songs in Kingdom Hearts 2 Atlantica are like original to that game?
Swim This
Everything that
Way.
isn't-
That one Ursula song.
Oh right.
Everything that's
think
not
one
from the
more.
movie, basically.
Well, yeah, I know, but I haven't seen the movie in years, so I don't remember.
Harry, okay, you know what? All of you are uncultured. I just want you to know that. I'm
I mean-
offended.
We've all had some sort of Little Mermaid related offense over the past couple of episodes.
I mean, I haven't seen a Disney movie in years, man.
Oh, we're hearing background. I'm hearing background conversations.
Something's happening.
Yep. Okay, Scrappy went mute.
Oh,
Yeah,
boy.
yeah, we are waiting now.
Oh
It's the
boy.
waiting game.
Woo!
Let's go.
Let's go waiting. Yo, what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Tell me.
I'm waiting for Scrappy.
Oh dang, that's crazy. What are you waiting for, Harry?
I don't have a
He ain't
funny.
waiting for anything.
I don't. I do not have a funny joke, so.
Just wait for anything, man. Anything can be funny if you try hard enough. If you say it with enough of an inflection. Y'all, partner.
Yeehaw.
I'll tell you right now, I'm waiting for us to get more money so I can buy some drink.
I'm waiting for the Yohanai anime, I guess.
Yeah, the Yohane anime. You know what? No, he's back.
And there's disadvantages to having the mic.
Yeah.
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 Oh, yeah.
Picks up just a bit too much.
My family can project their voices when they want to.
Hmm. That's the worst part, I'm telling you. That's why I'm happy that my mic has a noise gate.
Mm.
How much do you hear right now?
I can't tell what they're saying, but I do hear.
Yeah, I just
in the background.
I just hear like.
Yeah, we hear that things are being said.
Yeah,
can't tell
it's
what.
just not. It's just completely incomprehensible.
It's like everybody behind you is underwater right now, but they're shouting really loud.
Oh
They're under the sea. It all makes sense now. It's all connected.
And then you want this open or closed?
Okay. So we'll get right into chapter 17 then.
Mm.
Also, Harry, okay, I'm gonna make you rewatch Little Mermaid soon, because that's just tragic.
I mean, one day? I mean, I said this a while ago, but one day I want to go through the at least all the animated movies, the Disney
Oh no,
movies.
we're going out of order for this, because that will take a while otherwise. So
I mean, I was just gonna do it like on my own time. Like, you don't need to join me.
Megan, Jason, and Xavier forced you to watch that movie just on its own, like,
Why? Why do you want me to watch it so bad?
cause good. I never make you watch anything. You make me watch things.
I mean, I guess.
Anyway, chapter 17 of Little Mermaid.
What am I missing?
While Madison and her friends had been stopping a wedding above the surface, Atlantis had seen its own fair share of action. The sea witch entered the kingdom's borders for the first time since her banishment. As she moved boldly through the main square, several merpeople screamed and moved to protect their children. Necroli just laughed evilly, bringing a feeling of dread to all who saw her. As the sea witch approached King Daggeron's palace, she was halted by a pair of guards. Necroli merely smirked.
I have business with His Majesty.
She said coolly.
If you wish to remain as you are, you won't think of challenging me.
The guards exchanged a glance and reluctantly moved aside. She found her way to the castle easily. With a careless wave of her hand, the doors to the throne room parted. As Necroli had expected, Princess Vita was at her father's side, along with Toby and Chip. She graced the four merpeople with her customary evil smirk. The eldest princess lunged, but the yellow merman caught her by the wrist and held her back. This little show of rage only amused Necroli more. She was even a tiny bit impressed by Vita. Perhaps the girl would even be good for a fight. Being a Roka, Vita would have plenty of raw power at her disposal, but it was nothing Necroli couldn't handle. Still, she would enjoy toying with the princess before the real fun began. King Daggeron had not missed a look in the sea witch's eyes as she assessed his oldest daughter. You will not touch her. He snarled fiercely, shoving a glowing gold triton in her face. Necroli met the king's angry gaze, completely unfazed.
I wouldn't dream of it.
The sea witch cooed.
However, if she starts it, rest assured I will finish it.
No one present missed the threat in her statement. Chip shifted a little bit, as if he were trying to shield Vita from view. Necroli made a note of the movement. Knowing her opponent's weaknesses was always to her advantage. At this point, Daggeron turned back to his daughter. Give me a moment.
Okie dokie.
Okay,
So, fellas. Oh, that was a moment.
But parted briefly. You promised me, Vita, he said in a low voice. Okay.
They're laughing at you. How dare they? They should know not to laugh at family. Oh, man. What's
Wait, so
everybody's
my
opinion on
parents shouldn't
Fast
be laughing at me when I do something dumb?
Yeah, you know, they should be cheering you on. They should be like, oh, I'm so proud of them doing something stupid. You know, people learn from their mistakes, you know? We learn from our trauma, not from being, you know, told we're doing the correct thing.
Dang.
Yeah, you know, they shouldn't be laughing at you for doing the wrong thing. They should be like, oh yeah, bro, keep doing the wrong thing. Eventually, you're gonna really suffer.
Okay, I don't think that's right either.
What are you talking about?
I don't know, man.
And this is how I got through life. You told me I got through life wrong, huh, punk?
Maybe.
Oh, how dare you? Meet me out back.
I don't think I will.
No, no, no. If you don't meet me out back, I'll meet you out back.
Well, if I don't go out back, can you ever meet me out back?
Man, I just want to take you out to the steakhouse. Okay, fine, I'll go on my own then. No one likes their steak anymore. And that is what it means to, well, turn your brain off, really. It's really entertaining. You have no clue how little's going through my mind right now and what's going on my computer. Like, of course, like, we're doing this right now, but I'm also, like, I have, like, a VTuber stream on the bottom left, and she's currently doing a meow karaoke as a punishment, and it's very funny.
Nice.
Meow? Like,
that explains a lot.
Yes.
like instead of singing the lyrics, it's a
She's
meowing.
Yes. Yeah, it's very entertaining. So, oh lord, I think some of the mucus that was in my throat just like pushed up into my nose because I almost just like exploded from my nose.
Oh god.
That could have sounded really weird, but I caught myself, so you know. Oh, it's over.
It's over.
Looks like it's all over. For you.
Dun, 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 dun.
Call an ambulance, call an ambulance. But not for me.
Mm.
I have like a window of maybe 10 seconds. Oh gosh.
Where-
They sure are loud, huh?
Makes you wonder what kind of mic Scrappy got.
I don't know, I mean, most mics, if they don't have a noise gate setting, they just pick up everything.
I plugged my headphones back into my regular, just into the computer directly. So does the noise at least muffled a bit more now?
Yeah.
There is no noise anymore, I would say.
Okay then. For the love of Pete. You promised me, Vita, Daggeron said in a low voice. Vita nodded solemnly. He sighed before removing his crown and placing it on Vita's head. You're ready, Daggeron assured the Pink Mermaid. He handed over the Triton before slowly turning back to Necroli.
I've been waiting a long time for this.
Necroli said in a sinister tone.
Vengeance is sweet, Daggeron.
The sea witch produced the contract Daggeron had signed and waved it tauntingly in his face.
Sunset will be happening in exactly 1 minute, and then you are mine. Any last words?
Honor your promise. Necroli let out a snort, but this time the Triton glowed from Vita's anger rather than the king's. Daggeron looked to his advisor. You have always been a good friend to me, Toby, and you do your job well. Continue to do so. And as for you, Chip. The red-haired merman jumped slightly, but regained his composure easily enough.
Is this me? Is this me? Right?
It's Chip.
Okay, cool. See, you choose the color, I'm not too sure, but yeah, okay. Yes, Your Highness?
Daggeron smiled fondly at his children's oldest friend. Take care of them. For me. Necroli snapped her fingers impatiently.
I lost my place. Very touching. I'd love to hear more of your sappy goodbyes with your precious family, but I believe you belong to me now.
The king squared his shoulders. Do what you must. he told her. Necrolite cackled with malicious glee. Much like with Madison's transformation, Daggeron's body was soon obscured in a cloud, this one golden in color. It swirled around him like a tornado, and when the remains drifted away, all that was left of Daggeron was a shriveled gray creature. Daddy, Vita said quietly, her voice racked with sorrow. She had known what would happen when the contract was fulfilled, but seeing her once powerful father transformed in such a way was still a shock. Necrolite took complete advantage of this fact. She allowed a grin to creep slowly over her face before raising her hand and pointing at Vita. A bolt of black energy shot from the tip of Necrolite's finger, heading straight for the princess. It would have been easy for Necrolite to murder the Pink Mermaid then and there. However, her curiosity was proving to get the better of her. She wanted to see just how powerful Vita would grow to be. Though the blast wasn't powerful enough to kill Princess Vita, she had definitely not been expecting the attack. Caught off guard, the Pink Mermaid dove for cover, dropping her newly acquired Triton in the process. As Chip and Toby went to Vita's aid, Necrolite picked up the coveted item. She held it tightly in her clawed hand, feeling its power add to her own. Vita looked at the sea witch with a snarl carved on her face. You give that back, you monster! It's mine! I'm the Queen of Atlantis now, and that's my Triton! Yet another sinister laugh rose from the sea witch's throat.
No, it's not, you silly little girl. It's mine. Now get out of my sight, and I may just spare your life. Unless you want to end up like Daddy's dearest.
As Necrolite's voice trailed off, she allowed her usual smirk to cross her face. Vita had her father's temper, and Necrolite needed to see just how much of a threat the princess was going to be. Forgetting her oath to King Daggeron, Vita lunged for Necrolite in a blind rage. The Pink Princess seized the Triton and tried to pull it from the sea witch's grasp. This attempt was met with a sharp jab that punctured the princess's tail in 3 separate places. The rightful heir to the Atlantean throne let out a gasp of pain and shock. You monster! Ugh, terrible. You monster! Vita snarled again, curling her hands into fists. Blood was beginning to flow from her wounds. Chip sent Necrolite the deadliest glare he could manage before gingerly folding Vita to sit comfortably in his arms.
This is me again, right? Just need to make sure.
You are Chip, Xander, and Nicholas.
Okay. Well, I mean, only Chip's in the scene at the moment, so I just need to make sure. I'll take you to the infirmary.
The Yellow Merman murmured to his friend.
It won't be so bad.
Chip took another look at Vita's injury and winced.
At least, I hope it won't be too hard for the healers to treat.
Vita struggled. But Chip could be strong and forceful when he needed to be. Let me go, she demanded, scratching uselessly in the redhead's grip. She won't get away with this in my kingdom as long as I'm still breathing.
I can easily arrange for you to stop breathing.
Necrolite cackled. She gripped the powerful weapon as tightly as she could, focusing all of her energy into it. The Trident began to Wait. Am I saying... They've been calling it a Trident all the time, now say Trident, for Pete's sake.
Yeah, they started calling it a trident.
Of all times.
The undersea pitchfork began to glow, but now it took on an aura of black energy rather than the usual golden color. Necroli then pointed the stolen artifact at the portrait of Queen Julia. With a blast of black energy, the painting was destroyed. The princess let out an enraged yell and kept struggling to free herself. Toby placed a hand on her shoulder. Calm yourself, Vita. You are losing too much blood and are sure to get yourself hurt worse if you try to fight her again. The older merman now focused on Chip. Get her out of here. As Vita was carried away, Necroli waved mockingly. She destroyed the rest of the lavish throne room with a few bolts of her magic. Satisfied that the room was now in ruins, Necroli then exited the palace. It was time to show everyone who was in charge. Necroli made her way past the deserted market in the main square. The merpeople had all gone to hide in their homes. Maybe her new subjects weren't as stupid as she had assumed. Which once again focused her energy into King Daggeron's Triton, pointing it at herself this time. The power she directed at herself was going to transform her into a much larger version of herself. Oh wait, we're getting kaiju action? Is this?
Ayo, is it happening?
Ayo.
I thought it wasn't.
Again, I haven't read these last few chapters since 2010, so yeah. I think I vaguely remember how it ends, but I forgot about make my monster growl. Yeah. So yeah. Still no Megazords though. I need to make that clear.
Yeah. Or so you say.
Yeah, just wait until we get to the part where Nick pulls out his Zord from the castle.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Actually, the Mystic Rangers became their own Zords.
True.
Actually.
The power she directed at herself was going to transform her into a much larger version of herself. She would go to the surface to collect her daughter, and then they could start their new reign as Queen and Princess of Atlantis. Along the way, she would take the opportunity to taunt little Madison. As the Blue Princess proved to have a temper, she would be joining her sister in the infirmary. She was close to the surface now, and from the gasps and screams she was hearing, the humans were terrified of what was rising up from the ocean's depths. Necroli chuckled darkly as she broke the surface. Right off the shore, a yacht was anchored, and she spotted her daughter standing on the deck.
Hello, darling. Did you miss me?
Necroli asked, laughing again as the nobles on the ship continued to scream.
Come, daughter. The ocean is ours now. I will take you home to the new palace, and we will live like the royalty we are.
Lily shook her head.
You are wrong to do these things, Mother. I want nothing to do with you. Give Madison her father's trident and go back to the cave. You've done enough damage to everyone's lives as it is.
Necroli had known her only daughter had befriended the younger princess. However, she had only believed Lily to be acting, wanting to gain Madison's trust before stabbing her in the back. Necroli had underestimated Lily's desire to be good. She had assumed her daughter only wanted to follow in her footsteps.
Ungrateful brat. All of this was for you. Daggeron banished me, and you by extension. You were forced to live in a cave instead of a home. My revenge was for you, Lily, and now you have betrayed me.
While this exchange had been taking place, Prince Nicholas had been kneeling at the side of his family's yacht. He was holding Maddie's hand and feeling like a fool for not seeing the truth before. On the other hand, now that he knew the truth, he was not going to allow this creature to harm anyone else ever again. Nick gave the mermaid's hand a squeeze and flashed her a quick smile. Then he stood and began to take charge of the situation.
Captain, take the ship back to the dock so the passengers can get to safety. Father, select a crew of your best sailors to accompany me and prepare the battle fleet.
Queen Udana let out a gasp and pressed her hand to her heart. Absolutely not, Nicholas. You'll be going to safety with the guests. Nick could not believe his mother. Here was a real opportunity for him to be the hero he'd always dreamt of being, and she was still insisting on treating him like a child.
No.
He said finally.
I'm going to fight this creature, Mother. I'm going to be king one day, and it is time I'm treated like a man. It is my duty to both my kingdom and my family to fight in this battle.
The queen looked ready to protest, but King Leanbow put his arm around her shoulders comfortingly. Udana, my darling, our son is right. This is his job. And you'll need a morpher. No. Queen Udana did not seem comforted in the slightest, but she kept her mouth closed. King Leanbow nodded at his son, his brown eyes shining with pride at Nicholas's desire to defend his kingdom. Then he turned to the captain, who was standing at the wheel looking uncertain. What are you waiting for? I believe your prince gave you an order. Yes, your majesty. We'll have her anchored in no time. I don't know what this sounds like. As the nobles crowded together, speaking fearfully, and the crew got busy turning the ship around, Xander and Lily came to stand at the prince's side.
I'm with you, Nick.
Xander assured the red-clad man beside him.
So Necroli's gone.
Me too.
Lily added.
My mother needs to be stopped.
I'm flatly surprised Nikolai hasn't just vaporized them on the spot.
Right? They're letting them have their little power moment, you know?
Nicholas smiled at his two friends.
I must say, I count myself lucky to have the two of you as comrades. I hope I can say that for many years to come.
The trio was then approached by the king and queen. Udana still looked uneasy about the decision her little Bowen had made, but she was trying to seem supportive. Nick gave his mother a reassuring smile before turning his attention to his father. Leanbow was holding an oddly shaped item wrapped in red velvet. This was going to be a wedding gift, but seeing as there was no longer a wedding, Leanbow pressed the package into the prince's hands. You will need this in your battle. Holy crap, it's a morpher! No. Nicholas knew what it was. He peeled the wrappings away, revealing his father's sword. It was a fine weapon, handed down from father to son for generations. Tradition dictated it was received after fighting in your first battle.
This is your sword, Father, and I've not yet earned it.
Fair enough, Nicholas. You will earn it today. I am very proud of the devotion you are showing to the kingdom. You will be a fine king one day. The prince got a good grip on his weapon. The weight would take a bit of getting used to, but it felt right. This sword would serve him well. To Madison, watching from the sea below, he looked like a hero.
Yeah, I'm still focusing enough for that, you know? And my brain's split like 27 different ways right now, but it's all good.
Yeah, mine too.
The healer on duty in the infirmary was able to tend to Lita's wound easily. The pink princess was given a tight bandage on her tail to stop the flow of blood. She was also advised to take it easy for the next few days. This set the already angry princess off. I do not know how you can tell me to take it easy. I got the injury from Necroli, the Sea Witch. She's overthrown my father, and it looks like I am on my own as far as getting. And it looks as if I am on my own as far as getting the throne back goes. so I cannot take it easy. The healer looked taken aback at Vita's outburst and mumbled an apology. Chip gave the princess a brief, comforting hug.
You aren't alone, V. You have me and Toby and Maddie. We'll go find her right now, and the four of us will take care of everything. Maybe we can even find a way to bring your father back to normal.
Vita couldn't help what happened next. Chip just looked so sweet and earnest, and he really wanted to help her. The eldest princess pressed a quick kiss to the yellow merman's lips. Chip's face matched his hair. Let's go, Vita ordered, looking much more like her usual spunky self.
I'd bet Maddie is still at the surface, trying to protect the humans.
Chip said, attempting to focus on helping Vita save Atlantis, rather than the kiss he had just shared with his best friend. Toby joined the two out in what remained of the palace corridor. What is the plan, Your Majesty? The younger mer people filled him in on their decision to search for Madison at the ocean's surface. The advisor agreed to accompany them, and together they left Atlantis, hoping there would be a good reason to return. No bubbles? Okay.
Oh, sorry about that. I completely forgot about the
Gotcha.
bubbles.
Prince Nicholas was standing on the deck of the ship reserved for sea battles. He felt as ready as he could possibly be for the upcoming fight. Yes, he was very, very inexperienced when it came down to being in a real fight, but he was also brave and motivated. The entire country was at stake, with Necroli still anchored in the ocean, firing jolts of black energy in random directions. It would take weeks, maybe months, to clean the kingdom of all the wreckage the sea witch was causing. Xander and Lily had also been armed. Lily was afraid mortal weapons would not be very effective against her mother's magic, but she did not voice this thought. She gripped her small dagger tightly, hoping the combined force of she, Xander, Nick, and the soldiers would be enough to stop the Sea Witch. We're within range now, sire. One of the sailors informed Nick. Give the order and we attack the beast.
Yar, you sound like a pirate. It's excellent, I might add.
Nicholas replied.
Give her everything you got.
There was a resounding cheer from the men of Briarwood's navy, and following the announcement, there was a great deal of clattering as they readied their weapons in preparation for the battle. Necroli merely laughed darkly as she watched the pathetic humans launch their defense. Goodness. As if a group of silly mortals could possibly hope to harm her. She who had vanquished the mighty King Daggeron and who was keeper of the Triton. Ha! Let them come. This will be child's play. The Sea Witch easily dodged the first few attacks the sailors threw her way. This did not seem to faze them, as they simply threw more spears her way.
Fire the cannons!
Nicholas ordered. Aye, aye, the sailors complied, and small groups were formed as they worked together to load the weapons. Toby, Chip, and Vita arrived at the surface as the first cannonball was shot. The humans fighting back was something none of them had expected to see, though it certainly helped. Princess Vita, much like Lily, did not think the humans' weapons would defeat the powerful Sea Witch, but with any luck, they could weaken her. Madison, who had been watching Nicholas and his crew fight, suddenly spotted her sister in the distance. Despite the bad blood between the two princesses, Maddie felt a grin split her face. With a quiet laugh, the blue mermaid dove into the sea. She swam as fast as she could, and upon reaching the trio of merpeople, she popped out of the water with a splash. Though Vita did not believe Necroli coming to power was essentially her sister's fault, she was glad to see that Maddie was unharmed. Something about the sentence doesn't follow. Oh no, wait, no. Though she did believe that it was basically her sister's fault, she was glad to see Maddie was unharmed. All right. The sisters embraced joyously.
Is father terribly mad?
The Blue Princess asked.
How did Necroli get father's Triton?
When Daggeron found out about the bargain you made with Necroli, he took your place. Oh, that's Chip. Gosh darn it.
I'm sorry, I just looked away. It's me? Where?
The response to Madison is from Chip.
Oh. When Dagron, right? When Dagron found out, that's where we're.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I scrolled and it moved my thing up instead of down, so I lost myself. When Dagron found out about the bargain you made with Necroli, he took your place. He's now one of those gray things Necroli had in her garden.
Chip explained. Madison let out a gasp, and tears stung her deep brown eyes. The redhead continued.
Wait, am I a redhead? I'm confused.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my
Chip
God,
is
I'm a
the
redhead.
redhead.
They refer to him as like the yellow dude, and then sometimes they're like redhead and like
Yellow, because
okay.
that's his
Chip
ranger
is
color.
Chip is the
Yeah.
yellow
The
ranger.
yellow dude with red hair. He's Ronald McDonald. V had the Triton, but Necroli attacked her and took it away. She also hurt Vita. Ba da ba ba ba. I'm loving it.
I don't think this is something you should be loving.
Look, if Discord allowed color text, I would have done color text when we were listing character roles.
You
Yeah.
can do colored text if you do fucking plain text formatting.
What the fudge is plain text?
So you put 3 tildes. Like people use it for code, you know.
Okay, so
Uh, you know
this is
what?
important.
I'm gonna put it in story time. It's like
You know what? Tell me later. So she also hurt Vita. Madison looked down, noticing for the first time that her sister was indeed sporting a bandage.
oh V.
Don't worry about me, Vita put it firmly. We have to get Necroli. It looks like your humans are putting up a good fight, but they're going to need our powers. The Blue Princess looked confused. Vita took the liberty to explain. I noticed as Father and I left the Sea Witch's cave that I was starting to glow, like the Triton does when Father is mad. If both of us are mad, and we focus it all onto Necroli, that may be enough to destroy her. Oh my gosh.
But Nicholas is fighting her.
Toby shook his head. The prince and his men are not enough, princess. You and Vita need to fight her with magic. You must become a mystic force. No. So, if that was the plot twist of the story, that would have been hilarious.
You must become a magical girl.
A magical ranger, excuse you.
Magical Ranger. Would you like to sign this contract to become a Magical Ranger?
I know what I said.
I mean, they do have a cat. They do have a cat version of dubious morality in the show.
Yeah.
See? It's all coming together.
Oh yeah, it's all coming together.
Okay, you and Vita need to fight her with magic. Necroli released an angry roar as the crew made contact with one of the cannonballs. In a blind rage, one of her bursts of black energy destroyed a thankfully deserted yacht. She's weak, Toby decided. That couldn't have felt good. And with the size of that last blast, she should have been able to destroy the whole fleet. Go, girls. Face her. My Toby voice, I don't know, it's been so inconsistent. The sisters locked gazes and then nodded once.
Wish us luck. and get as far as way, bleh, and get as far away as you can.
Madison said finally. Then they took hold, and that's it. There's no punctuation there.
Yeah, it's a half-finished sentence. Well, if it isn't King Daggeron's little brats.
Necroli snarled.
Do you miss your daddy? Do you want to join him?
Blood began to boil in the veins of the twin mermaids. A faint glow emitted from their hands, just as Vita had said. The angrier we are, the stronger we are. Vita informed her sister. We must get it from father. Now concentrate. Mazin looked at Necroli, thinking of all the heinous crimes the Sea Witch had committed against the royal family. Mazin was not one to hold hate in her heart, but if the Blue Mermaid hated anyone, she hated the Sea Witch. The energy of the princess's body was radiating began to crackle, as did Vita's. Nick, who had been watching the princesses fight their own battle, suddenly had an idea.
Necroli, look at me!
He commanded in a very strange yell.
Your seconds are ticking away. Your life is about to end.
And the Prince of Briarwoods did a very brave thing. He raised his sword in the air and leapt from the ship. While in midair, Nick flung his sword with all his might, stabbing it into Necroli's heart.
Uh-oh.
Princess,
Did we lose Scrappy again?
Apparently he tried out like the very moment that sentence ended. That threw me off so bad.
Yeah. It was very convenient timing.
can you all hear me now?
Yeah,
Yep.
Gosh damn.
yeah. It tried off literally just after you said into Necroli's heart.
Stabbing it into Necroli's heart. The Sea Witch howled with rage as the prince dropped into the ocean. The princesses chose this moment to strike. They released the magic they had been holding back. Combined into one single golden beam of light, traveling straight towards Necroli. The Sea Witch had time to look fearful right as the light hit her. She exploded into a shower of black magic, gone forever. Vita seized the Triton, smiling happily. Madison made her way to Nick, who was grinning at the success they had all seen today.
Madison,
He murmured, cupping her face in his hand.
everyone is safe now. You're safe. Dang, he got
And-
aired. That's crazy.
I didn't even realize who that was for a while.
Madison just said, scene, 9:27 p.m.
Red. And so are you.
And chapter 17. Okay,
Two
give me a
chapters
moment.
remain.
That was like the longest chapter in the entire thing.
Yeah, that chapter kept on going.
Yeah,
Like,
that
I
went
thought-
on for a while. Are the next two chapters like as long as that, or what?
No.
No.
Chapter
Okay.
18 is normal chapter length. Chapter 19 is basically a paragraph.
Okay, so I guess chapter 17 was just.
The climax.
Yeah, let's just go big.
The big chapter.
Just the big boy.
Like kaiju battle.
The chapter.
Yeah.
One could even say it was the chapter, not just the, but the.
Oh man.
If the ship had turned into a Megazord, that would have been hilarious.
That would have been amazing. Oh my gosh. You know, if this was based off of Gurren Lagann, that would have happened. It would have been amazing. You know?
Yeah.
I feel like there need to be more like things like this, you know, something that mixes in like an old storybook story with like something modern and really like wacky.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a group of cute anime girls being Sherlock Holmes or something. That
Oh yeah,
seems
yeah.
like that might have an
Hey.
That
audience.
sounds like it'd be a great show, huh? I think they could totally hire Suzuko Mimori to be one of the voice actresses. I think that would sell well.
You're making a. Are you making a Milky Holmes joke?
It's Milky Holmes, yes.
Oh.
That's what we're talking about here.
I had to make sure. I was like, wait, what? That's like the last thing I'd expect you guys to reference.
Never ready for it. Never be
This-
prepared to see what comes out of our mouth next.
Suddenly Milky Holmes reference.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I had to do
Well,
it.
I enjoyed the chapter.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too. That was going crazy for a second there.
Yeah.
Did Xander and Lily like even attack at any point?
They don't
I
gotta.
don't-
They just gotta stand up, you know. They gotta do the Power Ranger pose real quick, and that's it.
I don't know. I don't know if they did anything.
They totally did a bunch behind the scenes. No, maybe this chapter will be them like showing what's going on behind the scenes. Maybe they played some cards or something. You never know.
Cards.
Card games on motorcycles.
Cards? Yeah, exactly. See, they were riding on the motorcycles, heading straight towards Necroli. They were playing card games real quick though because they needed to summon. They needed to synchro summon. Sorry, wrong Yu-Gi-Oh. Their monster, you know. Good stuff.
Okay. So here we are at the penultimate chapter of The Little Mermaid.
Oh boy.
Madison felt a smile creep over her face as she spotted Nicholas making his way to her. She was excited to see him under happy circumstances for once. The Blue Princess could tell that he was joyous as she was. He waved at her before breaking into a run for the shore.
Good morning, Madison.
He greeted her enthusiastically once he had caught his breath.
It looks like it's going to be a beautiful day.
Nick settled himself on the sand, smiling at his companion.
Xander and Lee may or may not be joining us later. Xander's still giving Lily a tour of the kingdom.
The Blue Princess had been surprised to learn a young lord had taken a liking to Lily, especially after his initial distrust of her. But Nicholas reported that the two were indeed close friends now. Maybe even more.
She's all he ever talks about. Bro, Lily must have like the most riz ever, right? Like I just need to say this really quick.
Yeah, somehow.
Because like there's no sign of any like brainwashing in this version. So Lily just came in and raised up the prince, and then after the prince was like, okay, maybe we can't be together, she immediately just unintentionally maybe raises up Xander. Like, man.
I think she did use at least some minor magic on Nick. Not strong enough to completely override all of his, I guess, senses, but
Yeah. I like to imagine that Lily's just a riz god, you know.
like, again, mermaids and sirens get conflated so often that yeah, I'm just gonna assume Siren Song was at play to an extent. Let's see. Maddie gave the red-clad. We are so on topic today.
Yeah.
Maddie gave the red-clad prince another smile. She knew how Xander felt. When she was at home with Vita, all she could talk about was Nick.
I can't tell who this is.
It's Madison.
Okay.
Okay.
Actually, wait.
Yeah, I know it's confusing, right?
I think it is actually.
I'm
Right? It could be Nick. It could be.
I think it's Madison.
Like, okay. Wait, are you sure? Wait, no. Wait, wait. No,
I'm loving
lines
every-
after it. They're so confusing.
I'm loving
I
every.
know,
I'm
right?
loving
Oh
every
my
second of
God.
this.
I think this is Nick. I think this is Nick. So I'm gonna read it. As long as they're happy together, I think we should be happy for them. Lily must have been very lonely growing up with Necroli as her only company.
I suppose you're right.
Madison chuckled and nodded.
So, what would you like to talk about today?
Tell me something about your day so far.
Nick brightened.
Oh, Father and I have finished planning our course for the trip. I'm so happy to finally be able to, or to finally be having the adventure I always wished for. And I won't have to wait much longer. We leave tomorrow.
A shadow passed over Maddie's face. Nick noticed this immediately.
Don't fret, Maddie. It won't be forever. I'll be back before you even have time to miss me.
The Blue Princess shook her head.
It's not your upcoming voyage that upsets me, Nick. I am glad you and your father are planning a trip together. But even when you do return, we will not be able to spend much time together.
Nicholas looked confused.
Why not? Surely you've earned your father's forgiveness. You and your sister did Atlantis a great service by killing me. Necroli. And did you not tell me your father was able to restore your place?
His eyes locked on hers.
Father has been wonderful, actually. He's been telling us all about how proud he is of us. And he shared some stories about Mother Vita and I had never heard before. Of course, he is also very glad Necroli is gone once and for all.
Maddie was beating around the bush. He knew there was a reason she had said they would not be able to see each other much, and he had to know what it was. Nicholas gave the princess's hand a gentle squeeze to prompt her. The mermaid finally met the prince's gaze.
Father has decided he wants to step down as king. Vita and I are going to be crowned tomorrow afternoon.
Briarwood's future king blinked. He certainly had not hinted at this before, and he had a lot to process as a result.
Oh, it's me again. Okay. Right? It's me? It's me?
Yeah, that's
Nick.
you.
Yeah. But you're so young. Younger than I am. Even I certainly know I'm not ready to take over quite yet.
The wording, how you worded that changes the meaning of the sentences a bit.
Who cares? Okay.
I care, okay?
Oh, fine, fine. Fine. But you're so young. Younger than I am. Younger than I am, even. I certainly know I'm not ready to take over quite yet.
He said finally. Thank you. His female companion's face fell slightly.
You don't think I can be a good ruler?
She asked sadly.
Of course, I don't think that. I think you'll be a wonderful queen. I just question your father's judgment in allowing you and your sister to take power at such a young age.
But then Nick smiled his broad smile.
I know it'll take time getting used to your new schedule, but I want to see you as often as possible once I return.
Even with these reassuring words, the Blue Princess still looked sad.
And we will see each other until
No,
you...
that's me.
Oh, that's her. Okay.
That's me.
Oh, yeah, future wife. Okay, I see it.
Yeah, yeah.
See, there was just so much silence, I thought it was me again.
I lost my place again. I looked away
Okay.
for...
I was
I'm-
scrolling, so...
Yeah, I was scrolling through Twitter.
You just rolled through Twitter, oh.
And we will see each other until you find your future wife, and I am pressured to find a husband. Eventually, we will have to move on.
Nick shook his head and moved closer to her, ignoring the water that seeped into his clothes.
Okay, I looked down for half a second and I lost where I was. Okay. I won't let that happen, I swear it. We'll find a way, Maddie. I can never be with someone else.
He wait. He tucked a section of hair behind her ear and then kissed her forehead. There was a polite cough from somewhere behind the couple. Madison turned to see Toby. She supposed she could not complain about the advisor coming to collect her. Daggeron had been very lenient about allowing him to come visit Nick.
I'm coming, Toby.
The Blue Mermaid called over her
There you
shoulder. Shut up. She turned back to the prince.
I'll try to come again tomorrow. Goodbye for now.
Nicholas watched as she swam out to join Toby. He wondered if what she had said about having to find a husband was true. Madison had certainly never mentioned an arranged marriage or even a suitor before. But perhaps if it was for the if it was for the good of her kingdom. Oy. The prince tried to imagine his Madison being forced to marry someone she didn't truly love. He tried to picture himself married to another young maiden and found he couldn't stand the very idea. He would find a way for them to be together. He had to. He owed her at least that much. The rest of the day passed in a blur for the young princess. She had a rehearsal for the coronation with Vita and a very enthusiastic Toby. Then she and her sister enjoyed a quiet dinner with her father before retiring to their bedroom for the evening. Vita brushed Madison's raven-colored hair until it shone, and then weaved it into a thick braid. You've been quiet today, Maddie, the Pink Mermaid said finally. Something is troubling you. It does not seem to me as though you were excited to become queen tomorrow. Maddie attempted a smile for her older sister.
I miss Nick already, V. I wish I could have had more time with him. Tomorrow I will scarcely have time to think, let alone visit him before he leaves. And one day, he'll find a beautiful girl to marry, and you'll have Chip.
You shouldn't think that way, Vita chided the Blue Princess. You're a beautiful girl, Madison, and your nature is loving. You won't be alone, I promise. If Madison had been looking at her sister, she would have seen a smirk on Vita's lips. There was a quiet knock on the door. Come in, the princesses chorused, and a moment later, their father was before them. He had a small, sad smile on his face. My daughters, Daggeron greeted them fondly. Tomorrow is a very big day in your lives. I know you will meet all the challenges thrown your way with wisdom and with grace under fire. I would like you to know how proud I am of you, both of you. And your mother would be as well. I love the two of you very much. He swam closer to the girl. He swam closer to the girls, pulling them into a tight hug. When he released them, he was wearing a stern fatherly face once more. Now get to bed. I want you well rested. Yes, father.
Yes, father.
The girls said together. Daggeron waited until the girls had settled into bed before dimming the lights with his Triton. He bid them good night. Bid them good night again quietly before leaving. No matter what he wanted for his youngest daughter, he could not bring himself to regret He could not bring himself to regret the decision he had made. The same crowd that had been present for the twins' 16th birthday assembled in the throne room of the Atlantean Palace. Hushed voices were murmuring to one another as they waited for the ceremony to begin. Though the kingdom had been surprised to learn Daggeron intended to step down, all agreed the princesses would be fine rulers. Silence fell instantly as the doors opened to reveal the sisters. Trumpets began to blare as the pink and blue mermaids made their way up the aisle between the seats. Simultaneously, Vita and Madison spun to face the spectators. Holy crud! Spun to face the spectators before seating themselves in the two thrones. King Daggeron appeared in the 3, 2, 1. King Daggeron appeared in the doorway. There was polite applause for the monarch as he followed the princess's path to the front of the crowd. He smiled at his subjects before motioning for them to quiet down. Atlantis, it has been a privilege to be your ruler. I have learned much from my experiences as king, and now it is time for me to end my reign over you and leave my daughter as queen in my place. As Madison listened to her father's speech, she began to feel overwhelming confusion. Daggeron had definitely said daughter in a singular form. How could it be that he had changed his mind? He and Queen Julia had always prepared their daughters for the day they'd both be queens. The Blue Princess frowned and wondered what she had not been told. A young merman with red hair made his entrance now. In his hands was a golden velvet pillow, on which a delicate silver tiara rested. Chip stopped before the king, and Daggeron took the crown. The yellow merman beamed at the princesses. Madison saw her twin return to smile. The king motioned to Vita. The elder princess rose from her throne at her father's signal. Daggeron lowered the crown onto Vita's head. I crown you Queen Vita of Atlantis. Vita's pink tail began to change to gold, signifying she was now ruler. The former king's golden color began to fade away, reverting it to the navy blue color he had been born with. Madison watched her sister's transformation, jaw open.
I don't understand, father.
She spoke up finally.
Is this my punishment for going to the surface? I will never be queen.
The assembled crowd began to murmur again. They were silenced by the newly minted queen, who then turned to her sister. You will be Queen Maddie, just not of Atlantis. Vita moved to her sister's side and embraced her tightly. Best of luck, Maddie, she whispered. Then Vita caught Daggeron's eye. He'll be leaving soon, father. It has to be now. Daggeron nodded in agreement with his oldest daughter. I shall return soon. Come, Madison. We're going to take a little trip. The Blue Princess gave her sister a scared look. Vita smiled encouragingly at Madison. This reassured the would-be human. Vita would never allow harm to come to her sister. Confident she was not being sent into exile, Maddie followed her father out of the palace. He led her through the main square before beginning to rise upwards, as if he were intending to. Madison's heart soared as she realized her father's destination. Could it be? Could it be? She followed his lead, rising high above the kingdom she'd grown up in. Father and daughter broke the surface at the same time. Daggeron gazed at his daughter's joyous expression, and he knew this is what she truly wanted. I will miss you.
We will visit, like I did for years.
Madison said.
Thank you, Daddy, so much.
Daggeron waved his trident in a wide, sweeping arch, and the young princess slowly began to form two legs. As she walked out of the waves, a sparkling blue dress materialized on her body. Prince Nicholas could hardly believe his eyes. He had been waiting at the shore all day in hopes Madison would be able to keep her promise before his ship departed. And here she was, walking towards him. And here she was, walking towards him with her arms outstretched. The prince raced to his princess, spinning her around the second she was in his arms. He kissed her.
But how?
He asked when they had parted. Nick gave her a smile, his arm still tight around her.
Father changed his mind. This is what I wanted.
Together, they turned to face the ocean. Daggeron was still watching his daughter, a sad look on his face. Take care of her, the former king murmured, before vanishing into the ocean's depths. And Chapter 8. That is the end of Chapter 18.
18. One chapter remains.
It's almost over.
We've almost done it. I can almost rest.
The Little Mermaid, Chapter 19. 5 years later. Queen Madison stood on the deck of the royal yacht, happiness radiating from her. She looked down at the infant swaddled in her arms, still marveling at the fact that she was now a mother. The baby princess was now 2 months old. Today, the royal family was out at sea to meet up with Madison's relatives. It would be the first time Vita and Daggeron would meet the newest royal. Madison was excited to see her family again. Though Leanbow and Udana had been welcoming to her, the raven-haired royal missed her sister and father, and always looked forward to the times they were able to visit. King Nicholas joined his wife, taking the baby from her arms.
She looks just like you.
He murmured to Maddie.
The resemblance is uncanny. Except she has black hair, you know, she has different hair color, you know. She will be a beautiful girl.
I mean, Maddie has black hair too, so.
I know, I'm judging about, you know, how it is in the sequel movie.
I know.
Oh.
Unfortunately, both of baby Maddie's parents have black hair in this.
Curses, foiled again.
Foiled again.
The resemblance is uncanny. She'll be a beautiful girl. The king kissed his daughter's forehead.
Don't forget that she's got your eyes.
Maddie reminded her husband. She smiled at Nick, moving closer to his side.
They'll be here soon. Xander mentioned when he spoke to Vita that they were all very anxious to see our daughter.
You're right. Or is that...
Actually, I think that's me.
Yeah, the
It's
king.
Vita.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right, Maddie. We are. Came a familiar voice from the water. The king and queen of Briar Woods peered over the side of the ship to see Queen Vita and her husband. The mer people sported identical grins. Daggeron was nearby as well. You are beautiful as always, Madison, he called to his youngest daughter. She beamed at her father before carefully handling the swaddled infant to her. The former king looked at his first grandchild with admiration on his face. She's lovely, Daggeron murmured, just like her mother. Nicholas took his wife's hand. He knew how anxious she had been to introduce her father and sister to the young princess. Now that Now that it had, oh my gosh, now that it had happened, she would be more relaxed.
Her name is Julia.
Madison told the trio of mer people.
After mother, of course.
A look of sadness briefly crossed Daggeron's face. However, as Vita reached for her niece, the former ruler was smiling again. Vita and Chip began to kick over the baby princess. The current Queen of Briarwoods knelt on the yacht's deck, reaching for her father.
Are you happy, father? All is well in Atlantis, I hope.
Vita and Chip are fine monarchs. Atlantis prospers under their rule, and I am so proud to watch them learn to do their job. I want for nothing. He looked up at his human son-in-law. I hope you are providing for my daughter and granddaughter, Nicholas. And then the former king smiled once more. I can tell that you are. It is clear to me that... Is there an issue?
What?
I don't know. Somebody
I
just
thought
bumped into their mic. It sounded like for that.
Oh, that was me.
Okay.
And then the former king smiled once more. I can tell that you are. It is clear to me this is the best place for Madison to be. Madison nodded before taking her daughter back from her sister.
I do feel we're all going to live happily ever after.
The end.
Hooray.
In under 2 hours.
That was under 2 hours?
Yes.
It sure was. Hour 40.
Yeah, it was just that one chapter that went on
Yeah, the
for a
one
while.
chapter was endless, yeah.
Yeah.
It felt... Oh my god!
Like, after that chapter ended, all of a sudden, it just kept going and going. I was like, oh, hey, it's over. Whoa, it's over again.
I thought it was... The sun's down! I thought it's been 2.5!
Yeah, I think that's a skill issue for your entire time zone.
I'm taking that line.
time zone skill issue. Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah. No, this was Little Mermaid for sure.
Yeah, I wish I had more to say about it, but
I just want to know, in
Yeah.
Power Rangers, do these characters end up actually being together by the end, or was this like something that the writer came up with?
Madison and Nick, I mean, yeah, they were definitely shipped or teased a lot in the show. I guess
don't
spoilers for
think
Mystic
they got
Force.
together.
Yeah, spoilers for Mystic Force, I guess. So this is your chance to leave right now in 5, 4,
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Okay, so when Nick decides to go, all right, Nick, when he meets up with his biological parents finally, and they deal with all the villains there, he and his biological parents decide to go kind of visit Nick's adoptive parents because that's what you do. And yeah, Madison kind of helps see the three of them off because he was leaving town to do that. And Nick gave up he gave like the red blanket that Udana had kept all those years. Nick gave that blanket to Madison as a way of, yeah, I'll be back for this, so, keep the torch warm.
Mm.
That makes sense, yeah.
So yeah,
Spoilers
they-
for a show
yeah, they
from like
were
the
at
mid
least-
2000s.
Hey, people get triggered about the weirdest things, okay? I
Yeah,
still see
yeah.
people getting angry about being spoiled Final Fantasy VII, as if that game wasn't out for over 20 years.
Guys,
I-
listen, I hate to
actually-
tell you, but Aerith
I-
fucking dies.
Yeah,
I mean,
sorry.
Well, I mean, like, the-
All right, okay, let me speak.
Yeah.
Despite my complete experience with Final Fantasy in general, there are actually still plot points from multiple games I have not been aware of because I
Yeah.
just don't follow that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like,
Yeah, well, it makes sense for most of them, but it's like
yeah, I mean, the thing is,
certain
like,
games.
the thing is, like, I generally don't think like how long something is out is a good way to say, like, oh, if a game is out for like 20 years, I don't think that immediately means like you can spoil everything. The thing with like the Aerith dying thing is like that was everywhere or like online,
Yeah.
so it's just like even if you barely know anything about Final Fantasy, you've probably heard that somewhere.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that's the
absolutely.
joke I'm making.
Yeah, but like you know, I think that's like an exception and not the rule.
Yeah, it's not like we're talking about the whole thing with Cloud and Sephiroth. We're talking about
Yeah.
Aerith.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking
I-
about Aerith and Cloud and Sephiroth.
Anyway,
Talking about
Yes,
that one
Mr.
game theory.
Oh god.
anyways, yes, Mystic Force is nearly 20 years old, but it's also kind of niche from a kind of niche franchise. And while anyone who's watching this story being played out with us has probably at least seen some of Mystic Force, I'm just giving it as a courtesy. That's
Mm.
all.
I mean, a lot of
So-
Power Ranger stuff is like kind of goes over my head. I don't really know
do
this
the
series.
morphin' and stuff.
They
Yeah.
do
Some
the
Power Rangers
morphing,
are
and
black.
they got the
Some Power
swords and
Rangers are white.
Megazord.
Sometimes the color gold, you know, it's kind of crazy
Yeah.
like that.
Sometimes they're silver.
Yeah.
Bro,
I know.
sometimes they got a gun, sometimes they got a sword. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I enjoyed the story well enough. It was comfort food, I guess you could call it, when I
Mm.
was young. Back when I was obsessed with Power Rangers and Little Mermaid, which I definitely am not obsessed with either of those now. Thank goodness.
I mean, I
Sure, you claim that.
I feel like if I was like into Power Rangers, I would have like understood this fic a lot more because I don't know like any characters' names from Power Rangers, so like a lot of this stuff just kind of went over my head.
Now you know how I feel with the Toho stuff.
You know, it's funny, like me being not a fan of either of the two. It's a very entertaining experience for me because I do recognize the Toho names, but I don't recognize the Power Ranger names. I have to just see blue guy, red guy, yellow guy, you know?
Yeah, that's all I know them as.
That's how it felt. That's how it started feeling for me by the time I got to like the middle of my Power Rangers binge.
You just stopped caring about the names and started caring about the colors.
Yeah.
That's how I am whenever I start a new Magical Girl series. I'm like, okay, this is gonna be the yellow one.
All right.
Takes me
So
a
this
while to
pink
learn
one,
their
this
names.
pink one is the protagonist.
Yeah, right. I know we're probably gonna suffer.
Well,
The blue one's probably really edgy. We can all understand that.
so what was I saying? Well, since I'm pretty intimately familiar with both properties, yeah, their author did their homework.
Mm.
Like the characters feel like themselves, even if they have to kind of be jury-rigged and befitting like the niche of the Disney Little Mermaid character archetypes.
This feels like a
And-
this feels like a story specifically made for Scrappy.
For real.
It could have been.
Sometimes I
Scrappy,
got.
is there something
sometimes-
you're not telling us?
Oh, that's cute. You think I can write 19 chapters in a row? That's very, very,
We're not saying,
very nice
we're not
of you
saying
to
you were
think.
writing it. We were saying that when you were younger, you totally commissioned this person with the endless amount of money that you had.
Were all these
Put your
chapters
future savings into it.
were all these chapters like written in the same year?
They were written over a period of less than 2 years. Like,
Yeah.
I mean
Yeah,
that's
the-
that's yeah. I mean
Published October 8th and updated last in April 2010.
I mean that's still a lot better than the release schedule for most fanfics out there.
Yeah.
yeah, which is why I wouldn't be able to write it. So,
Hell, it got finished.
Yeah, right.
I
That's
think it does
unprecedented.
benefit from it being like based around something, like an actual
True.
story is kind of like retelling that, but its own way.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why it was a little easier for them to pump it out so quickly.
I think
Maybe,
I guess
but-
it also helps that these chapters aren't super long.
Yeah. Except for chapter 17.
Yeah, chapter 17, they just wanted to just go crazy for that one for some reason.
Yeah, that was the big finale. That was the Megazord fight, you know? We didn't have a Megazord, but we you know, we had the Kaiju, so close
Yeah,
enough.
there was like it's like 19 chapters long, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
19.
yeah. I feel like they could have easily like split that one into two and just made it a nice round 20.
Yeah, right.
Even
That's
numbers are
also
for
super
suckers.
triggering.
so,
Yeah, it's about that prime number here.
so
Gotta make sure it
what was I
can't be
gonna say?
divided.
No.
Only 1 in
What was I
19
saying?
in my neighborhood.
Okay, so yeah, the story, kind of just having an obvious framework to work off of. Yeah, I'm sure that helped, but I mean, I did a adaptation of my own once, and that took that was one chap. Okay, it was 2 chapters. That was just 2 chapters, and that took me like probably about 40 days to finalize.
Yeah. See, that was 2 chapters too.
Yeah,
Okay,
2 chapters written as like
that's like
one
one
long
long
chapter that I had to break up.
Yeah, so like, you know, if we math it out, you know, we say this took what, like a year and a half? You took a little
Give or
more than a
take.
month. You can get about half of it done.
I mean,
Got faith in
sure.
you.
I mean, I probably destroyed. I mean, I had no sleep and just got myself sick, which
Jeez.
you could all tell from the reading from Storytime in December of last year.
Right.
I mean, I couldn't tell. I wasn't there, but you know.
Yes, you were. You just half
I was
asleep,
asleep.
I think.
I was there physically, but not in spirit.
Oh my god, wait, December of last year.
Yeah.
Shit.
What, were you thinking December of this year? We haven't even gotten
No,
there
I
yet.
was thinking of December of the year before.
Oh god.
December
Not
of the
that
year
far back.
before, that was me writing the Love Live poetry story in like an hour and a half, I think.
See? You can grind it out. You got
Do- do-
this.
Yeah, I don't think either of these guys were in Storytime back then.
No.
No,
they
we
weren't.
weren't. We joined like May.
S-
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah, May or April 2022.
mm.
You know,
Yeah.
after the dark times. So yeah, I enjoyed this. Yeah, the story was basically made for me, and man, sometimes you gotta do one for yourself.
Gotta indulge.
Yeah, like I mean, we're gonna indulge a lot more in episode 100, but this was for me. And yeah, the story I'd say mostly holds up, and yeah, chapters are generally short, which you know, got no issue with that. Definitely no issue with that.
Yeah.
So, Princess Belle, Prince Adam, I thank you for this story. You know, your grasp on the Power Rangers characters works, and yeah, maybe not as many Power Rangers elements as I would personally like, but since I have like an obsession with Disney's Little Mermaid, I'm okay with a pretty straightforward translation in this case.
Yeah.
Huzzah.
If it
so
ain't
we've
broke,
had-
don't fix it.
If we had the Power Rangers becoming the Little Mermaid, I think we need the cast of the Little Mermaid becoming Power Rangers in a different story.
Oh
So,
yeah, that would've been
maybe
amazing.
maybe
What
I'll
the
write
heck?
that one day.
Oh god.
Alright, time to find out what Princess Belle Prince Adam is doing right now.
Hmm.
Bring
mean,
them
if we
back to FFN.
Yeah, oh, they haven't been on
mean-
since 2014. Oh man, I don't know if we can find them, dude.
Well,
Wait.
if
No, the profile was
wherever
clear,
they are, I
2017.
hope they're doing all right.
There's
Yeah.
hope.
So, yeah, that's about all I've got. I enjoyed this, and well, I'm happy we finished this before episode 100.
Yep. Now 100 can be extra special. You know what to do.
Huzzah.
So I guess we'll just discuss future plans if you want to even.
I mean,
call it
I was wondering like, I
Harry
mean,
only has one
yeah.
thing on his mind right now.
It's Banjo.
I wasn't even thinking that.
what's on my mind?
The sea story.
Yes, yes.
that. Okay, so since I like to just really be self-congratulatory, episode 100 will break protocol a bit. We will not read any fanfic based off of established intellectual property. We're just gonna do something a little different, and it's gonna be a bit more free flow, kind of like the podcast anniversary episode. The anniversary episodes of Storytime. We'll just gather whoever we can and just go from there.
Person's foiled again.
Forward again. And we're
You know,
reading a
maybe Tanner will
we're-
Tanner will resurface.
we're reading a Seas Brain fanfic.
yeah. Someone will write it. We got this.
And well, as you would probably know, writing takes a while. So
Yeah.
this last episode, we don't know when the next episode will come about.
Yeah, just so don't expect like an episode that happen in like the next week or two. Like it just happens. It will happen when it happens.
What? You're telling me I shouldn't show up in VC at this time next week?
I mean, unless you wanted to just like chill. I don't know.
Bro, just chill. I think I'm gonna be at work, so I couldn't possibly chill at that time. But just chill, you know. Maybe someone will show up.
Good old chill.
we'll see how we'll see how the I guess we'll see how the various actors' schedules will coincide. I don't know, align.
Yeah, coincide.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you know,
Happy
if there's anything
times.
Storytime has been known for in its 99 episodes, it's scheduling.
Oh yeah. We're great at this.
Hey,
Punctuality is
okay.
the middle name of story time.
Oh yeah.
Okay, but you gotta shake your hand at least once, you know. We did get to 99 episodes.
Yeah, I'm
That
gonna.
is,
Oh no,
yeah, yeah. That's
I'm gonna kiss my own ass very soon. Like,
You're gonna do the Obama giving himself a medal meme. That's what you're gonna do. You're gonna like clone yourself and give yourself a medal. It's gonna be beautiful.
yes, the answer is yes.
Yeah.
Hey, he said the line.
Yeah. Let's go.
Wrap up. We're not gonna get any better than this.
It's peak story time.
You know,
Oh, God.
the funny thing is that I have no clue what you two are talking about.
Scrappy Fan 92's iconic line, his catchphrase.
Catchphrase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Originates from a playthrough of Rayman Origins back in 2017.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. All you need.
Apparently, they thought it was so hilarious.
Yeah, that's all you need to know. That's all you need to know. Like Scrappy just to an on, like he answered to a question with like just yes, the answer's yes, and we just died. It was good. Also, rip, yes.
Rip. Or rip racket.
Oh God.
I mean, I don't think it's
So-
that funny, but if you want to push the narrative that it is funny, I will bandwagon.
Hey, that's how all memes start, you know. They're never funny at first, but if someone
It-
pushes it enough, it starts to convince you, you know.
I mean, a lot of stuff Scrappy says is just funnier because of the just the tone of voice.
Deadpan.
Yeah.
It's like that.
Yeah.
Oh man, I can't even like bring that because no one would even understand it. No one would know what I'm talking about.
Man.
Can't come up with anything else.
Hmm.
Has anybody here seen the dub to Baka and Test?
Yes.
What's
Yes.
the content? No,
You
I know
have
what
seen
it
the
is, but
dub
I
to
haven't-
it?
I've
Oh my
seen
God.
I've seen the dub. I've seen the dub.
It's like the teacher that picks up narration role.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what it's like.
Oh, that's brilliant.
And that's all I had to say, you know.
Oh, yeah.
So
Okay, I know what
yeah,
you're saying.
that's about all I've got to say. And yeah, anyone who appeared at least once in Storytime, they are free to show up for episode
They're
100.
required.
Wait, what?
They're required.
Yeah, like
Join
we won't be able to
luck.
check everyone.
Join episode 100 or you die.
Yeah, no.
We just
I'm already
send
hiring
like
some hitmen. They're on their way.
we send ninjas to your house or something.
Yeah, no, I got connections. You know, my dad works in Nintendo. We can hire those Nintendo ninjas. You really don't want to mess with them.
Oh God.
Say
You see,
so,
normal ninjas
yeah.
doesn't nothing, but Nintendo ninjas,
Yeah, boy.
They'll
So,
get
yeah,
you.
yeah.
we're breaking
Hey,
up the
stop it, they'll
usual.
get you.
We're breaking up the usual, I guess, quote unquote, season format for the anniversary episodes. Because this isn't an anniversary episode per se, it's just a different milestone. Anyone who showed up on Storytime between April 2020 and now is eligible to show up for episode 100.
Yeah, since it's gonna be 10 hours long, don't forget that.
God.
Yeah, no, I didn't promise any of that.
Oh
We didn't.
Lord.
So yeah, I've sent out a few preemptive invites and have received no word back. So yeah, we'll see how that pans out. It'll probably just be us right now. Maybe Baka and N. Maybe Tanner and Nova.
Maybe
It
maybe we could get.
Story time. Oh my god, we could tell Baka and N all about our previous exploits.
Oh my god, we can tell them about Insights.
Oh
Oh
God.
my god. I mean,
We-
we already did, right?
maybe
But,
we'll-
like, you know.
Maybe we'll get Watermelon back.
I could send it out to. I could send out a message.
Mm.
So yeah, I'll try and see how everyone's feeling about that. I'll put some feelers out, and actually, I'll actually try and write some stuff, and
Mm.
yeah, find some additional material for fun.
Yep.
Fun.
So I guess like with
This
when we get to like episode 101, God, that's crazy. When you say those numbers out loud, it's actually kind of crazy how many we've done.
Triple digits,
101
baby.
story times.
Yeah.
Hey, yo, if we live long enough, we could hit episode 1000.
Are we-
That would be real great.
Are we just gonna? Do we have a plan for when we like after the special episode, or are we just gonna like play things by ear?
101 Dalmatians.
Perfect, perfect. We're literally, if we do anything else, I'm not joining.
We'll have to.
Oh, great.
We'll have to like find a story and do it in like the same episode, because otherwise, it's, like if we continue it for like
Yeah.
another one, it's the joke's gonna like not work.
No.
Oh, no,
There's-
102
There's a
works as
102
well.
Dalmatians movie.
Yeah,
Oh.
there is a 102.
Wait, really? Wait.
Yeah.
Yes, there is.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, see? We just need to get that going, you know?
What the hell?
So yeah, maybe. So that's all I got. So I thank you all for joining us for all this time, and I hope you all enjoyed the story.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Have fun.
Or don't. Bye.